lot of stuff to paint. Now this little gadget right here is called a zoom finder. It's a zoom finder. Cheap Joe sells them, Jerry Dollarama sells them, they're great little tools. This thing slides back and forth.
Oh,
And I've got a square aperture and I've got a rectangular aperture. And I use this thing religiously. I use one in my studio and I have one I travel with. Because I can take a photograph like this. You don't have to paint all that to have a really pretty painting. Look how I can take this thing and move it around.
it's just fun.
There's a pretty painting right there. You know something? I could even come in tighter. I can make it even smaller. Look how pretty that is right there.
Yeah,
Look at
going
that.
vertical, you turn it the other
You
way.
can turn it vertical. See there? I mean, I could get so many. I could get. Look how pretty that is.
It almost has to be vertical to get all of the reflection in the lake, doesn't it?
Just about, but I could get. That's a pretty painting right there.
Yeah, there
right.
it is.
I can take most photographs and get 4 or 5 paintings out of each photograph by using this thing. Now, I'm gonna do a real quick doodle of this little photograph to show you just how easy, with big brushes, how easily you can do a piece like this. It's got just a very simple shape and simple design to it, and you'd be surprised just how quickly it'll come together. Let's do this little scene right here. It's kind of pretty. We might put a little tree coming up to give it a vertical. So I usually take the zoom finder. Now, one thing I've got to do, I've got to make sure that water is level to the top of the painting or the bottom. You don't want it like that,
No,
because if it is, whoever lives down here is getting ready to get washed away. There's going to be a tsunami. Make sure you keep that water level right there. Let's take some tape and tape this little thing down, so we can hang on to that little spot of the photograph. So that's not going anywhere. Now we'll take a small piece of paper. This
Isn't that
is,
a general rule that the horizon's always level?
no, it isn't. You can do mountains that are
Oh, I mean,
all different angles.
Horizon.
If you're painting water, it's level.
water.
If you're painting out across that
actually the
lagoon
ocean.
out there, you better paint that water level. Otherwise, it's like looking at a crooked picture on the wall.
Also the feet of people in the crowd.
Now, that's the first thing I do in my photographs is to straighten it. So it's perfectly level.
Let's see if we can't.
Water.
This can be this little small doodle. This is a 140-pound Fabriano Artistico. Taping it down on all sides. It doesn't slide around on me. And we're going to paint that little scene right there. And we're going to do it very quickly. And most of it can be done using bristle brushes.
On a little piece of paper, huh?
On a little eighth of a sheet piece of paper.
A 1-inch bristle.
Now I'm going to slightly elevate the end of the top edge. So that way anything that runs is going to run this way. It's not going to bubble up, it's going to run down here. And let me get some clean spot on my palette here. You know, we always have a tendency to overcomplicate these things. They don't have to be complicated. We can do a painting very quick and very simple, and sometimes the prettiest pieces, but very simple pieces, especially with watercolors. Chinese are masters at it. They can do 10 brush strokes and do an incredible painting. So let's see if we can't, first of all,
Pencil with a point on it.
there it is, that's what I'm looking for. There's the horizon right there. That's the water line. I know I've got some trees up here like so, going all the way across. And I got this grass. There's the grass right there.
Golden rest.
Now down here, there's just a little suggestion of a peninsula kind of coming out. And the rest is all just sky and reflection. The water's reflecting that pretty aqua color and that pretty pinkish color in the sky. So we know where we're going with this piece. It's a pretty simple little piece. Let's start by wetting the entire paper. In fact, let's just wet from here up. Let's wet from the water line up into the sky. So I'm just wetting the top third of the painting right here.
Do you pay attention to the 1/3, 2/3 kind of rule, guideline?
I don't really worry about the 1/3, 2/3 so much, but in this piece, I have to have a pretty high horizon to give the effect of looking at across an expanse of this. But if you move the horizon down, you don't want it right in the middle. It's either going to be here or somewhere, but never right in the middle. So that's nice and wet. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of Golden Lake.
So in this case, which one do you call your horizon?
The water line I'm using.
Waterline is.
Water line's the horizon. You got the trees also, but the water line pretty much is it. I'm using the same brush I wet it with to put in a nice wash of the Golden Lake. Now, while it's still wet, I'm putting a little bit of magenta in it. Starting at the top and just working down into it. It's very, very simple and very fast. That will all level out, you'll see some nice smooth transitions of color in a few minutes. Get the excess water off that tape. So it goes from a little bit of a pinkish, and that's up high, then it gets a little bit darker down below. Now, to paint that grass, get this out of the way. Put that over there.
Would you like to sit here? I can stand there. It's easier.
The grass is a very interesting orange-brown color. So I'm taking some orange lake and a little bit of
Killing you.
still the green browns, and I'm just suggesting the area where the grass is. And it goes right down to the water. There's a little bit of violet in it, right along this edge here. Now remember, this paper is dry below this, so I can keep a nice straight line right there. And this is just the edge of the grass. Now to make that grass look like it's really light, I got to put those dark trees behind it. So again, I'm just taking the same, this is my 1-inch flat brush, and I'm painting these very dark trees. I'm taking that same color I had, which is violet and orange lake, I'm putting some green in it now. And I'm trying to catch that edge while it's still wet.
Runs into it.
Now look how that grass really stands out against that dark now. It just pops right out.
Did you use a drier color then?
This is pretty dry color. This is getting you more into that kind of melted butter.
Don't mind if it's
That
bleeding.
melted butter thing, because it doesn't bleed very much.
Yeah, the drier paint will not bleed a whole lot. It will stay pretty much where you put it. And so I can just come in and keep adding more and more shapes to it.
You don't care if it bleeds to the top as much as you do right where you do it right now, right?
Like up in here?
Yeah,
Actually, I want it to, because
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want hard edges.
yeah, that's gorgeous.
Look at that, and look at this. It's been all done,
Wonderful.
it's been done just in a matter of minutes without
Yeah.
fussing over it. All right, now I can come in and put a little bit more dark, get that hair off of there. A little bit more dark along the bottom of those trees. And the darker I make the bottom, the lighter and more vibrant that grass looks. So I'm just putting some more violet in it, come along the bottom, just in a few places, still wet. Like so. And you got a nice pretty shoreline that shows off how luminous and pretty that grass is. That grass is beautiful stuff. Just one reason why I took that photograph, I just like the way the light hit that grass. Now, if you want to really get fancy, you can always put a couple fir trees in there. Just to dress it up a little bit. It's not necessary to put a whole lot in there. And I'm putting these just to have a few recognizable shapes. Now look how that grass is glowing now, and look how that sky drive back. Just has a really pretty glow to it. Now we're going to dry it. We're going to stop and dry this, because we're going to start doing the area where the water is, but I want to make sure this is good and dry before I do it. This will dry it back lighter. It'll be very rich looking, have a nice rich look to it.
And the grass was, what was the color?
That was orange lake with a little bit of violet mixed with it.